Hey all, Plastic Commander here. Hey, did you see the good news? We hit 900 subscribers. That's freaking insane, guys. Like, I can't believe it. I really didn't think I'd get this far. I really didn't think I'd get this far. But to celebrate, I thought we would play a fun little game. As you can see, I got some of my happy juice right here. I thought we would play a game where every time a toy soldier falls over on screen, I would take a shot, you know, just for fun. So hopefully I can still edit this video by the time we're done. Uh-oh. Do you ever get this feeling that maybe you're meant for something greater than making internet videos about little toy army men? Do you ever feel that? Because I think I do. The year of 1900 was worth remembering only for the brave souls who spent 55 days at Peking. So today we are talking about two sets, double whammy, made by Arby's in Plastic about the Boxer Rebellion. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Boxer Rebellion right about now. At the turn of the century, there was a huge Western interest in the country of China. This was primarily because China was the trade hub of the world, and they produced several products that could not be found anywhere else, as well as having a large labor pool able to produce them. The Western powers and Japan essentially invaded the country without actually invading it. They built forts and military bases, and also leased cities and ports, most famous of these ports being Hong Kong, which the British held up until the 1980s, and Port Arthur, which was the subject of the Russo-Japanese War just 4 years later. The Chinese people did not care for so many foreign powers spreading their influence and culture while disregarding their own. It basically felt like an invasion without any invading. The forceful spread of Christianity also soured tensions enough that a group known as the Yiquan began persecuting Christians, leading to heightened tensions in the country. Empress Dowager of the Qing dynasty secretly supported the Yiquan, who were also known as the Boxers, and on June 20th of 1900, imperial troops and Boxer rebels began attacking the foreign legations located in Peking. For 55 days, soldiers and diplomats, as well as civilians from Japan, Austria-Hungary, the United States, Great Britain, Russia, Germany, Belgium, and several other nations, held out until a relief army was able to arrive. The war would last up until 1901. It would be the big push that would bring the democracy to China. In the 1950s, a film called 55 Days at Peking was made, detailing the siege of the capital. It stars Charleston Heston. It is on par with Zulu as far as classic films go. So, the Boxer Rebellion is one of the many themes that Armies in Plastic produces. Now, I couldn't find much on Armies in Plastic. They're based out of Ohio, and recently they actually did just start producing their figures here in the U.S., so if you want to help a U.S. company, there you go. But what I did find on their home website is that you can actually buy a bag of 50 figures, random figures from the Napoleonic era, World War I, Boxer Rebellion, Civil War, whatever, for only like $10 plus shipping, which is really cool, even though it's a random mixed lot. That's a really cool, and that's honestly a really good deal. So, Armies in Plastic is a great company. Weirdly enough, I did own a couple of Armies in Plastic sets growing up, which is weird because in my last video, I talked a little bit about how I didn't grow up with Timmy figures, but I grew up with knockoffs. So the fact that I didn't grow up with the king of dime store armyman Timmy, but I did in fact grow up with some nice high quality figures like these, which these are very high quality, especially for their price, is kind of interesting. So So when we talk about high quality figures, Armies of Plastic does come up. And their figures are very nice. They're made out of really nice, durable plastic. They make figures based off, like I said, many different themes. World War I, Napoleonic era, Civil War, just to name a few. One of the really interesting talking points about Armies in Plastic to me is that they don't have any figures really based on World War II, or at least none that I've seen. There are Vietnam, which that's what most Army men manufacturers try to go for, World War II, Vietnam. And the big reason to that is that, for one, Army men have always been based off of World War II, plastic Army men especially, which are, if you ask me, are the only kind of Army men, so I don't know why I said that. Just because plastic Army men began to be made after World War II, after the lead scare. And Vietnam, because it, Tim E., and a lot of companies like to copy Tim E. So a lot of companies do make Vietnam figures. So Vietnam and World War II are like the two most popular. But Armies in Plastic actually shies away from Vietnam in the Second World War in favor of other more niche subjects like the Boxer Rebellion, or the Boer Wars, or the Zulu Wars. They have figures on all of these. And they do also do World War I figures as well. And their World War I sets are really, really nice. I actually just picked up one of some British infantry. So, and they also, interestingly enough, even more interestingly, is that they have modern day soldiers based on Iraqi freedom and the war in Afghanistan, which is really interesting. They sell Taliban figures, and they also sell American infantry in multiple different colors, like gray, green, and yellow, I believe. So, again, that's really interesting. They went for World War I and jumped all the way to Iraqi freedom. So, hopefully, maybe one day we'll get a Falklands War set, my favorite war. So, let's talk about the actual figures. Like I said, they're real high quality. One of my few gripes about this company is that you can tell they kind of reuse some of their molds. Like, I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to juxtapose him next to this guy. So, yeah, and that's not the only one. There's a second figure. Another small complaint I have is that they have a lot of figures that kind of repeat. Like, they have a lot of figures in these sets that are just running or marching, and that's a lot of their sets. They don't really have a lot of multi-functioning parts, like the Timmy. You have your radio operator, mortar guy, heavy machine gunner. You got, some functionality to it. But these sets, you get riflemen and you get runners, which back in the day, that's pretty much all you had anyway. So, we'll look at the Marines here. This guy has a little head wrap, kneeling rifleman. We got a guy marching. They're all holding. And again, the detailing on these is spectacular. This guy's probably my favorite out of the Marine set, just the way he's holding that rifle. This guy's missing his hat. And two more figures that are kneeling. This guy has a revolver and a pair of binoculars. So, really, really cool. And then the Chinese boxers. Now, the boxers have mostly bladed weapons. I love this guy's goatee. Maybe I should get one like that. Let me know in the comments. So, they mostly rely on bladed weapons. That's because the boxers in history relied heavily on mixed martial arts. Or, well, just regular martial arts. And the reason they relied on martial arts so heavily was because they didn't have nearly as much access to firearms like the Chinese military did, or the European legations and the Japanese did. So they used overwhelming numbers and bladed weapons. They would do basically just bonsai charges at the European soldiers and the legations. And what's really interesting to note about the Boxer set is that you get 20 figures in the Boxer sets, 10 different poses. I like this guy right here with the shield. And this guy right here, real quick, this is the reason I bought this set, just because I thought this guy just looks so freaking cool. But anyway, you get 20 in the Chinese Boxer set, and you get 16 in the American Marine set. And it makes sense if you really think about it, because the Boxers outnumbered the Europeans and the Japanese at the legations. They only had about 500, and the Boxers had literally thousands that just constantly kept attacking them for a month and a half. So, these two sets are great. I love the Boxer Rebellion. It's one of my favorite pieces of history. I'm a big history buff. And all their other figures are also great. You can get them on eBay through a lot of hobby shops that are on there. I highly recommend. These figures are super high quality, and also they're priced really well. So, recently, along with these, I picked up some World War II U.S. infantry soldiers from Toy Soldiers of San Diego, which is another one of my favorite Army Men producers. From Nick Sean's Closet, there's a guy that I buy from, so if you want to look on eBay for him. And these figures, 16 of them, costed me about $30.
I'm flying that son of a bitch straight into bankruptcy.
So for $30, I got 16 of these guys. These two sets combined cost me about $30. That's including shipping, right? You can mostly find these sets online on eBay for about $8 plus shipping, if you're lucky. If you're not as lucky, $10 plus $4 shipping is about what I paid for both of them individually. But yeah, they're priced really well. Granted, you only get a handful of figures, but they're so high quality, you have very little room to complain. So, Armies in Plastic, great company. I highly recommend them. And honestly, I don't think there's an Army Men company I can say I hate yet. Wow. Now that's a set of figures that makes me glad I wasn't alive at the turn of the century. So anyway, guys, I'm the Plastic Commander, and until next time, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and when we do that, there's going to be a real big special, so stay tuned for that. The way we're going, I think we may be able to hit it by the start of next month. So if we can keep that train going, make sure to share my profile with other Army Men enthusiasts you may know. And always remember, I'm coming for you, Dylan. You think I was messing with you, but I wasn't.